Hey y'all, my name is Priscilla and welcome back to my channel Bookie Charm. For today's video, I'm going to be sharing the books that I may be reading for the Latinxathon. Okay, so if you're watching this video, I'm hoping that, well, I'm pretty sure you've already seen my announcement in TBR recommendations videos, but if you haven't, this is my TBR video, and the Latinxathon is a readathon that I help co-host, all about reading Latinx authors, and this readathon starts a week from today on October 6th, so I think it's about time for me to show you the things that I'm considering reading. And I say considering because I'm feeling very moody right now in terms of my reading, and I don't know what I feel like picking up in a week from now. And I'm doing a very Kazan style pile of possibilities TBR for you. So I have a number of books that I may pick up, and I'll tell you what prompts they would fulfill if I do pick them up. Okay, so for the first prompt being to read something short, I have a number of children's picture books that I might read. And I wanted to start with Maxie Survives the Hurricane, which is a bilingual picture book written both English and Spanish about the Puerto Ricans that survived Hurricane Maria. And this is written by Dricia Ann Chansky and Yargeles Marcial Acevedo. And I think that I've wanted to read more about Puerto Ricans and about specifically related to Hurricane Maria ever since I read a nonfiction anthology about the aftershocks and the trauma and the effects of being a colonial state, being part of the US. And this looks like an uplifting sort of happier take on that, but nonetheless more that I want to read about. So that's Maxie Survives the Hurricane. So the next book that I have is A Day with Panye, which is written by Tammy Charles and illustrated by Sarah Palacios. I've read books written by and illustrated by both of these writer and illustrators. Tammy Charles wrote Freedom Soup, which is a Haitian story about the Haitian Revolution. And Sarah Palacios, I believe, is a Mexican illustrator that's illustrated a number of children's picture books. But this book in particular follows a young girl in Port-au-Prince in Haiti, and she's wanting to carry the panier to the market. And I think that this story is just going to be about celebrating the vibrant culture and tradition in Haiti. And I'm excited to read it because I obviously like the work of both of these writers/illustrators. So that's A Day with Panye. Then I have Rainbow Weaver, which is written by Linda Marshall and illustrated by Elisa Chavarri, which I've read books illustrated by Chavarri before. She's, I believe, Peruvian. And yes, she's born in Peru. This is a story about a Guatemalan weaver, and it celebrates the indigenous tradition of weaving. And this is a story about a young girl that is excited to learn about weaving and wanting to celebrate the Mayan traditions of weaving, but whose mother is kind of busy and doesn't want, I guess, to show her how to do that. And I think that it's just going to be a celebration of that indigenous heritage. So that's Rainbow Weaver. Then I have a Schomburg, I believe is how you pronounce that, The Man Who Built a Library. And this is by Carol Weatherford and illustrated by Eric Velasquez. This is a story about a Afro-Puerto Rican man in the Harlem in the 1930s who started a library. And I've read other books by Eric Velasquez. I recommended Octopus Stew in my recommendations, and I wanted to read more of his picture books because he has a number of them. And this one caught my eye. I also kind of relate it to the Puro Belpre story that I've heard about another Puerto Rican woman that started a library. So I've been interested to read more about that. I think it's really fascinating to read stories and picture books about history in particular. So that's Schomburg. So the next prompt is to read something spooky. And to be quite honest, I'm not really in the mood to read spooky things right now. But I do have a backlist title that's on my shelves that I've been meaning to read for quite a while. So I have Everyone Knows You Go Home by Natalia Sylvester. Sylvester is a Peruvian author, and this is a story about a woman who is talking to her late father who happens to be a ghost. So that's the spooky element in this. That's really all that I know about it. I know it takes place in Texas. I think it takes place surrounding a wedding or starts at a wedding or something like that. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I've heard a lot of good things about Sylvester in general, and I haven't read any of her works. So maybe I'll get to Everyone Knows You Go Home. For the next prompt, read something cozy. I'm going at this 2 different ways. One being that I just really enjoy poetry. Poetry is always going to be cozy feeling for me. And secondly, I'm in a romance reading mood. So romances are cozy just in themselves, and with the promise of a happily ever after. I'm very much in a romance reading mood right now. So first being poetry, I have My Brother Was an Aztec by Natalie Diaz. Natalie Diaz is an indigenous Latinx poet, and I read her I guess sophomore poetry collection, maybe her third, I'm not sure. But this is the one that precedes that. I think this might be her debut. And I'm not exactly sure what it's about, but I enjoyed the post-colonial love poems, and I think that I want to read more of her work. So that's My Brother Was an Aztec. And for romance, I actually bought an ebook because I had a gift certificate from work. And I have this romance. It's a sapphic romance called Prize Money by Celeste Castro. I know that it follows a Mexican American, I think a bull rider, or a bullfighter. And I know that she falls in love, and that's enough for me. I've never read a romance taking place in a rodeo, which, being from Texas, is a crime, especially with a Latinx person in a rodeo falling in love. That sounds amazing. This is a new release, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for those cozy feels. And the last prompt is to read something seasonal. And for this, I have 2 options. And mostly I'm going with the cover look, the colors of reds and oranges. And I've got the first being The President and the Frog. This was actually most recently recommended by Yvette. And this is by Carolina de Robertis, who is an Uruguayan queer author. And this is her newest release. I've read books by this author before. I read Cantoras last year, absolutely loved it. And this is a book, I think, that follows a president in the now and in the past who is kind of talking about his rule and how the world is kind of fucked up, and how he has a pessimistic but also optimistic outlook, depending on what time frame he's talking, and something like that maybe. So that's why I picked up this, and obviously very orangey for the autumnal seasonal cover. Lastly, I have Latinitas, which is Celebrating 40 Big Dreamers by Juliette Menendez. And this is, I think, sort of a picture book. I don't know if it's considered a picture book, but it just has, like it says, celebrating 40 women that are of Latinx descent. And it looks super cute with the art style chosen, and I'm excited to learn about some more figures. Historical figures. And I first I think came across this, I can't remember, on Instagram somewhere, but I know that it was reviewed by someone that said they appreciated the fact that they incorporated, they being the author, incorporated not only stereotypically white mestizo women, but also some indigenous and black Latinx. So that's what put this on my radar, and I think I just want something kind of light, maybe something a little lighter for my nonfiction, because I've been reading a lot of heavy nonfiction this year. So yeah, that's Latinitas. Okay, and that is all I have to tell you in terms of my TBR. Let's see if I stick to this, because like I said, I'm feeling very moody and picking up whatever I feel like. So we'll see if this is going to be actually what I read from. But in terms of Latinx-A-THON, I hope you're excited to begin with us in a week from today. I will remind you that we do have a live show and watch along that Saturday and Sunday. I think I said that backwards. The live show will be on Sunday and the watch along will be on Saturday. But make sure to follow us on social media at Latinx-A-THON on Twitter and Instagram to find out the times for that. But I'm excited to get started. I'm excited to join you all. Hope you all are as well. But that's all I have for this video. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye.